Oh god, how much of a content drought am I in to start a tier list video? Whoa, who could have seen this coming? What's up everyone? Today we're going to be ranking every single weapon combination in Cuphead to their utility and how generally good they are against most of the bosses. So, let me just do a quick disclaimer. I am not the best Cuphead player in the world. I know, this is hard to believe, but it's true. There are people that are better than me. So, do not think that my opinion is final. You may prefer simple weapon combinations better than I do, and that's okay. Alright, so let's get started. Crackshot Chaser. So Crackshot Chaser is actually an interesting weapon combination because they both involve homing projectiles, making them really easy to use on bosses. The main thing about this, however, is that Crackshot is so much better than Chaser in almost every single way, so most of the time you're going to end up using Crackshot over Chaser. So this weapon combination is a bit limited. It is great for utility in bosses such as Chef Saltbaker, but it just seems kinda convoluted to use two homing shots when both of them can do pretty much the exact same job. So just for that, I'm putting Crackshot Chaser in C tier. So next up we got Pea Shooter Spread. So this is actually a pretty good weapon combination, mainly because of the utility it provides. Pea Shooter is a pretty good all-around weapon, and Spread is very good for close-up damage. So overall, I'm giving this one an A, it's actually pretty good. So Converge Charge is a bit weird, mainly because Converge and Charge are super similar weapons, but again, there are scenarios where you would want to use Converge over Charge, and vice versa. So I'm just gonna leave it in B tier. I don't know, it's just a pretty weird combination. I don't really have much to say about it. So Roundabout Converge. I do think it's a bit better than Converge Charge, mainly because Roundabout is a better all-around weapon than Charge, and Converge has its uses in some bosses.
Hey, that's pretty good.
So Crackshot Converge. This is probably the weapon combination every single player that played the DLC used when they wanted to learn about the new weapons. Converge provides damage, Crackshot provides utility, which is needed in the DLC. Pretty good weapon combination for like every DLC boss, but not sure how good its utility is in the main game. I think it is better than Converge Charge. So Pea Shooter Lobber. I'd say it's pretty good because Lobber can be useful in fights like Grim Matchstick, and Pea Shooter can basically solo the entire game, although it does make some fights where you have to aim a little bit difficult. Overall, I think this is a pretty good combination where your focus is dealing damage, but aiming at the bosses, not so much. I'm gonna put it middle of B tier. So Pea Shooter Charge. Alright, this is actually a pretty good weapon combination, mainly because I've used it a bit. I've used this sometimes on Howling Aces where I wanted to get the secret phase. Well, I pretty much recommend it for that fight alone. You're probably gonna be soloing everything with Charge, honestly, if you want to deal high damage. I'll put it slightly above Pea Shooter Lobber just because of how similar they are. Alright, so Pea Shooter Roundabout. These are basically the exact same weapon, besides the fact that Roundabout is so much better than Pea Shooter. So this actually nullifies the combination a bit, because why would you use two very similar shots when you can use two very different shots for two very different aspects of the boss? This just seems like a waste of the second shot option, because if you're going to be using Roundabout, then you're not going to be using Pea Shooter at all. So I'm actually going to put this in C tier. Pea Shooter Crackshot. This is a pretty goated combination, if I'm being honest. Pea Shooter is an all-around good weapon, but it does struggle with aiming. Crackshot completely makes up for it. So Crackshot can cover the two main drawbacks of Pea Shooter, which is low damage and low homing ability, by providing it with the high damage shot and the actual Crackshot. And Pea Shooter is useful for fights where you can deal more consistent damage and where it's more versatile. So I'm actually going to put it in A tier. It's pretty goated.
That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Pea Shooter Converge is a pretty bad weapon combination for the exact same reason that Pea Shooter Roundabout is a bad combination. Mainly because of how similar the two weapons are. You're just going to be using one of them, and so just putting it below Pea Shooter Roundabout for the sole reason that Roundabout is a better shot than Converge. Alright, we got here Roundabout Spread. let me just be real with you. This is the best weapon combination in the entire game. There's no doubt about it. It is the best for mid-level play. If you're not that good at the game, and if you're just playing the game casually, this is the weapon combination you should be using. Only if you know how to use spread, but learning how to use spread efficiently on boss fights is pretty easy. So let me explain. Roundabout is the best long-range weapon in the game, and spread is the best short-range weapon in the game. So both of these shots, they make up for each other's weaknesses perfectly. If the boss is too far away, you can just use roundabout and turn around and hit it with the roundabout shot. If the boss is close enough and is not moving that much, you can make up for the low damage of roundabout with spread's damage. This was my go-to weapon combination for basically every single boss in the game. Let me tell you, if any of you watching this video are new to the game and don't know which weapon combination to get this as soon as possible. And Converge Spread, it's actually pretty good. Yeah, I definitely recommend it to this for some bosses, so I'm gonna put it in high A tier, probably below P-Sugar Spread. So Crackshot Lobber, this is another interesting combination. You're trying to get damage with Lobber, and then when you can't really use Lobber too well on fights like Rumor Honeybottoms or any of the DLC fights, you're gonna make up for it with Crackshot. And if Lobber's lobbing effect is kind of screwing with you, you can just use Crackshot's close range shot to deal basically the exact same amount of damage. So I'll put it in A tier. Roundabout Crackshot, I can't remember well because the DLC came out a while ago, but I'm pretty sure this is the combination I used for most of the bosses, because once again, Roundabout provides great utility, and Crackshot provides a great homing ability. So I'm actually putting this in S tier alongside this, because these are pretty similar, except this weapon combination plays more safely than this one. So Roundabout Lobber, if any of you have watched any speedrun videos on YouTube of Cuphead Legacy version, you'll recognize this weapon combination. If the game still had that busted weapon swap mechanic, this would be an SS plus tier somewhere right up here. But now that you can't switch weapons, this is actually still a pretty good weapon combination. Lobber can deal with the high damage, while Roundabout can deal with the more hard to hit bosses, such as like Mortimer Freeze. So yeah, I could see this being used on fights like Moonshine Mob, Mortimer Freeze. Grim Magic is another good one. I'm actually gonna put it in high B tier, maybe even low A tier. Yeah, I'll put it here. Crackshot Twist Up. This is a pretty interesting combination. Once again, it's kind of reminds me of Crackshot Spread, which is already pretty goated, except Twist Up is a bit less versatile. You're probably gonna end up using Crackshot most of the game because of how hard Twist Up is to use, and that's gonna be true for every Twist Up weapon combination. I'll put it in B tier, probably even more viable than the Crackshot Converge weapon combination because of how similar Crackshot and Converge are. So Roundabout Charge, this is another pretty good weapon combination, but once again, I used this a lot and I noticed one flaw with it. It's where these two weapons have basically the exact same versatility, so it's not really useful in any fights besides something like Briny Beard. So I think low B tier is probably the best spot for it. Be sure to Twist Up. I'd say these are the two worst weapons in the game in terms of using them casually, but together they kind of make up for each other's weaknesses, where you can use Twist Up on bosses that are hard to hit, such as Mortimer Freeze, and then you can dish out P-Shooter damage when you're far away. Some notable bosses where this might be useful is Mortimer Freeze, Ghost of the Giant, probably even Beppy the Clown. Although for Beppy, I wouldn't see the difference between using P-Shooter Spread. I'm gonna put it in A tier, but these two are really similar, so I'm gonna drop this down a bit. Roundabout Chaser is a pretty good weapon combination. It's probably the safest weapon combination in the game. You can stay far away from the boss, and if the boss is on the ground, you can use Roundabout while turning around and focus on dodging the attacks, since most of the Roundabout shots will hit it. And you can use Chaser on bosses that are in the air, and then once again focus on dodging the attacks. It does lack a bit of damage, but it is more on the casual side, so I'll probably put it in middle of B tier. P-Shooter Twist Up.
Can you speak English?
Fuck you!
So I don't really know about this combination. Let's see, what uses does this even have? I can't think of any. It's just you're probably gonna be stuck using Chaser most of the time because of how hard Twist Up is to use. So the bosses are just gonna take forever. I wouldn't recommend this weapon combination for anyone. So yeah, this is the first D tier combination, mainly because how bad these weapons are to get for. In theory, they'd be good, homing and Twist Up, but then you just miss the utility that so many of the other shots provide, which is just having a good straight shot to deal constant damage. Lobber Charge. This is the go-to combination for playing Grim Matchstick, mainly because Lobber is good on top of the clouds and Charge is good on the final phase. It is good if you want to melt bosses, but it does take some adjusting too, because both Charge and Lobber are pretty difficult to use on bosses. So on bosses where they're a lot more bullet hell, I don't see the potential of using this weapon combination, if I'm being honest. Probably gonna put it in high C tier. Converge Lobber, I think this is pretty good. Converge can be your roundabout, it can deal your normal straight damage. Lobber can be your high damage dealer when you're close to the bosses. This is basically just roundabout spread, just a lot worse. Once again, there's this dilemma of like, why would you use this weapon combination when this combination is so much better than it? So I'm just gonna put it in middle of B tier, probably because I don't know what to do with this weapon combination. So Crackshot Spread, I can see the potential in this. This is good for newer players who are trying to end the bosses a lot faster. It's basically like the Chaser player who wants to become a speedrunner. This has high potential for bosses such as Mortimer Freeze because of how good Spread Shot is on the 2 later phases and how good Crackshot is on the first phase. So I would actually recommend this combination. Probably going to put it high A tier, no, maybe even S tier, probably because of how good it is for newer players when they're trying to learn how to end bosses faster. Chaser Charge, this is the Markiplier weapon combination, right? It's not that good, if I'm being honest. Charge is good for dealing out damage. I'm probably going to end up using this at some time to see how actually good it is, but I'm going to put it in C tier. Crackshot Charge, this is similar to Crackshot Spread, except in the fact that Charge is slightly worse for dealing damage, but still, this is a pretty good weapon combination. I do see the reason for using this, because of how much great utility it provides, so I'm putting it in A tier. So, Chaser Converge, this might be another Chaser Twist Up scenario, probably because of how mediocre these weapons are. So, I'm putting it in D tier, slightly above Chaser Twist Up, but only slightly because of Converge having more utility than Twist Up. Converge, Twist Up, these are super similar weapon combination, these two, so I'm gonna put it here. Chaser Lobber, once again, I feel like these two weapons are just so hard to use efficiently that it's almost not worth using them. It's another scenario of Chaser not being able to deal enough damage for a weapon that is hard to use, because if you can't use Lobber, you're stuck with Chaser, and you never want to be stuck with Chaser. Chaser is never supposed to be your go-to straight shot, because it just doesn't have enough damage potential to make up for the damage loss. And Roundabout Twist Up, again, it's very similar to this weapon combination, and I actually used this combination for, what was it? For the DLC hit list video. I used it on some bosses where I couldn't dish out enough damage, so I used this Twist Up EX. I think it was Howling Aces to end the final phase faster, and Glumstone for the second phase because of how good Twist Up is. Yeah, I'd recommend this combination. It's probably gonna be like Crackshot Spread, where it's good for DLC. Probably gonna put it in an S tier.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Lobber Spread. Any speedrunners that watch my videos, you will know how good this weapon combination is. Speedrunners, this might hurt a little because I know it hurts me, but I am gonna keep it in B tier. Literally middle of B tier, because for high skilled players this will be top of S tier, and for low skilled players this will be bottom of D tier because of how hard this weapon combination is to use. So B is more of the middle ground. I just want to be fair for both groups. Lobber Twist Up, this is super similar to this, except it has a better EX. I'm gonna put it a bit lower. This is Once again, you can master this weapon combination like you can lob or spread, but I just don't see myself using this combination at all when you can just use this. Alright, Chaser Spread, this is the Christmas combination, right? Let me tell you, it is not good. Literally for the exact same reason Twist Up Chaser is not good. Charge Twist Up, I considered using this combination on Warhammer Freeze, but I found Roundabout to be a bit more efficient for damage dealing. Before doing the DLC hitless speedrun, I would have put it in C tier, I just wouldn't see the potential. But I have played some bosses with this, so this might be a bit biased, but I am putting it probably the same utility as like Lob or Spread, except a bit better, because of Twist Up and Charge being a bit more versatile versions of those weapons.
And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Alright. Pea Shooter Chaser. You know how I mentioned how if you're stuck with Chaser, it's bad because you don't want to be stuck with Chaser? Well, Pea Shooter is not a good weapon. It is a bit more viable than Lobber, than Spread, and then Twist Up. But these are the lowest damage dealing weapons in the game. Even if you're using this combination to its fullest potential, it's still gonna be lackluster compared to the high damage potential of all of these weapon combinations. So this might hurt some ostriches out there, but this is probably the worst weapon combination in the game. First off, these are very similar weapons. You don't want to be using the two same weapons when that slot could be used up for something better. Second off, Pea Shooter is not a good straight weapon because Roundabout and Charge exist. Chaser is not a good homing weapon because Crackshot exists. There is literally no reason to use this weapon combination. Twist Up Spread, I think the only use this has is for root pack speedruns, and that's probably it because of how easy it is to use Twist Up on root pack. But once again, casual players are probably not going to be speedrunning root packs, so I'm gonna put these in probably above Pea Shooter Roundabout. Alright, and last but certainly not least, we got Charge Spread. This is the highest damage potential in the game. This is used in many speedruns, and I don't even have to say this, you don't have to be a speedrunner to know how good this combination is, because when you use this combination, everything just dies instantly. The one drawback that I can possibly think of is it might be hard on bosses with minions, and probably Charge's EX is a bit lackluster. Besides that, this is an excellent weapon combination. It is a good go-to if you want more damage than what Roundabout and Spread can provide. But Roundabout Spread is a bit better because of how much utility Roundabout provides to more casual players than Charge does. So that is my tier list. What do you guys think? Go yell at me in the comments.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
If you're going to take anything away from this video, is don't use weapon combinations that are on C and D. Just never use these, even if you're connected to the weapons in some way, shape, or form. This is my final weapon combination tier list. I might eat my words on some of these here if I do end up using some of these combinations for videos and stuff, but overall, this is just a general look on how I perceive weapons in this game, because lately I haven't been using too many of them. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this type of content, because I will be doing more recordings of my voice soon. And I'll catch you all next time. See ya, bye.